hate having to lounge around the car stands between train times because the boys try to draw me about Detta Cairns. Dowdle, one begins. What happened the morning you drove Detta Cairns home? What always happens when a girl comes home from the States to her father? Ah, don't be a dry stick, Dowdle. After all, she was a bit of a star or something on the New York stage, wasn't she? She never expected to find her own home a tumble-down shack and her father a bit queer in the head. Come on, man, what happened?
Nothing. Nothing out of the usual.
But the pictures on the wall, Dowdle. The pictures of Detta. What did she say to them?
I saw no pictures on the wall. At that, they pulled wry, insinuating faces and moved away. I saw the pictures on the wall, of course. Saw all that happened, but I wasn't going to tell them so. Maybe it was clan instinct, for Dita was an old neighbor of ours in the hill country beyond the town. In a way, I'm glad mine was the car that pulled into the station the Sunday morning she came home. I was late, of course, and only went in to turn when a porter whistled and waved. He had a heavy case on a truck barrow, so I backed up and got out.
It was then I saw Detta. She was standing inside the entrance. Somehow I felt she'd been there a long time, and somehow I thought instantly of a head of corn withering out of forlorn glory among the briars, never to be cut, waiting for the storms of winter to break it down.
I knew her at first, or that she knew me, because she was well up on 40 now, and I was a lad of 10 or 11 when she went to the States. Furthermore, she was exotic in force, and her hair was blonde in place of the brown rye that used to glint with auburn. Her face, too, was heavily powdered. Underneath her eyes, it reminded me of kneaded dough. But it was her eyes I knew first, the big, slow-shinned eyes as bulgy as hers.
I went up to welcome her home.
"Cab," she said, with a drawl of the careless arrogance of the old-type Irish American.
I stopped, then nodded, and turned to give the porter a hand with the case. But when I looked up, she hadn't moved, and again I noted her eyes, that gleaming then, as she was afraid of something and had a mind to flee back to the platform.
Then she said, "I'd like to sit beside the driver, if it's okay with you." "Why, sure," I said.
Being Sunday, with little traffic about and most people at church, it was a quick run through the town to the bridge. From there, you had a clear view of the hills 5 miles away over flat country. On that harvest morning, the hills looked grand. The mountain peeping from the center might have been a drowsy hand from a fable, an assorted brood around her, all sunning themselves in the haze. The heather was a true purple, the rocks mauve and friendly, the bracken just beginning to rust, and the grasses changing to a variety of tints, all making a foliage that blended as smoothly as feathers. Here and there, even between the rocks, ran the flame of a ripening field of oats.
Watching it all, Detta said in a whisper that cost an effort, "Guess I haven't told you where I want to go." "That's all right. To your father's, isn't it?" She looked hard at me. "You know who I am?" "I do." "Then take it easier, will you?" She didn't seem to want to ask my name, just kept looking at the hills. I began to wonder if she was thinking of our youth out there. Easily, I recalled all they used to say about her around the firesides before we moved into the town. I recalled the knotted brows and gabble that people made when someone was supposed to have seen her in a motor car with a stranger.
That was shortly before she went away. Before that, I recalled the time when I'd really felt sorry for her. The day the whole neighborhood went to make the pattern or stations at the Holy Well. Detta was there with her parents and her mother, a great prayer woman, as they said, led to the group. I remember watching the brilliant eyes until someone in our group slapped my ear and told me to gawk less and pray more. But I went on gawking, alarmedly, because coming to that station where, on bare knees, the pilgrims knelt on a boulder with a surface like a rasp, Detta was still using her hands to take pressure off her knees.
Just then reverie fled as I changed gears for the first hill, while a little ahead a young girl appeared carrying 2 cans of water. She had sprung lithely over a stile and was waiting till we should pass. And then came that sound from Detta, as when you suck a quick breath at the stab of pain. I looked and saw her breast heaving. She might have been something horrible. Suddenly I understood why she saw horror in the face, as spritily as April showers, in the effect of light on her hair that seemed to radiate the glow of an innocent but rhythmic energy. Detta herself was something like that young girl when she first left home.
From the top of the hill, we saw the dance hall where, as the gossips said, she used to sport her figure. But now, the galvanized roof was poked, with rat's holes. The door was gone, and one end of a gravel crumbling into a caricature.
She breathed, as if through her teeth. The Ole Tivoli guest irony had dubbed that name on it a hastily converted castle shed in the ways when it was called a spot of iniquity, a spot of the rage which freckled the Irish countryside when just first dosed the young folk with its hectic fever. She was so still, I wondered if she was recalling the night when her mother barked in, yanked her from a partner's embrace, and thumped her out of the hall.
I thought I sent you for the milk, just happer, she had screeched. Detta's father was outside, having come down to try to dissuade the mother. Oh, he said in his soothing way, we can't make a nest egg of the girl. Detta was an only child.
It was shortly after that incident that Detta ran away to surface, and next thing we heard, she was in New York and dancing on the stage. The whole countryside was talking about her. One evening, her mother came into our house with a Yankee newspaper, crying that they were disgraced forever as she showed a picture of Detta in tights. After that, the woman kept to herself, hardly speaking if you met her. We moved into town about that time. A little later, we heard that Detta's father had been kicked in the head by a horse. He didn't die, but the fright hastened the death of his wife. People said it was Detta who brought his curse on the family.